So, hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Unpacking Possibility. I'm your host, Traci Stein, as always. I'm so happy and grateful to be with you today. Now, it's December 15th as I record this. It'll probably air in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, this episode. It's been a really especially rough news cycle against a backdrop of stress that doesn't even describe it. And so today I really want to talk about coping tools that anyone can access that are free. I'm going to name about 12 or so of them, but you can think of others. But I want us to remember that to some extent, not a perfect extent, each one of us has the built-in ability to self-regulate. That would be the psychological term, but the built-in ability to shrink some of the distress and enhance some of the feelings of calm or ease or control in a world that really does feel out of control for so many. Because my hope for you is that the better you feel, the more you can also do good in the world. That's our task. I think that's why we're alive at this time, is to grow ourselves, to strengthen ourselves, and to be forces for good in the world. That's what I think. So without further ado, 12 tips for coping with overwhelm. And again, they're pretty much all free. So you can't beat that, right? So number one, and I probably said this in one way or another. I'm going to say it a little bit differently today. But number one is I'm going to say it's reverse the contraction. And that might sound like it doesn't make any sense, but let me explain. When we get stressed, we all tighten our muscles. We tend to hunch forward. It's an evolutionary kind of reaction where we go to protect ourselves, right? We protect our organs. If we feel threatened, even if it's like in a conversation that's with somebody that's making us uncomfortable, right? The most normal, everyday, non-life threatening thing, we tend to pull our shoulders forward. We cross our arms over our vital organs. There's a reason for that. And we're wired to do that to survive if there's an actual existential threat, a threat to our survival. But we do that when we're reading the news or watching the news or somebody's telling us bad news or when we've got a lot on our mind, when something is going wrong, when we're worried. So we tighten our muscles, but we also tend to contract forward. And what you'll notice is if you've been doing this, even if you're not aware, you'll have a lot of tightness in your upper back, the rhomboid muscle, this triangle in the very kind of center of your upper back. People will talk about tight trapezius muscles. You don't even need to know what the muscles are called. You may, but if you don't worry. But that upper back tightness, that shoulder tightness, that neck tightness. And if you're somebody who's vulnerable anyway to back pain, neck pain, headaches, fatigue, that almost unconscious tightening and that chronic tightening and that chronic pulling forward is just going to exacerbate anything that was already going on or maybe even create a new discomfort. And it tells our brains when we do that. It's like this loop, right? Our brains are stressed and it tells our body to tighten up. When our body is tight, it further reinforces the feelings of stress. So reversing the contraction, what I mean by that is, you can go online and find free gentle yoga or other stretching exercises. I mean, YouTube is filled with this, so you don't even have to go to a class unless you already do or like to. Do things that release tension in the upper back and the shoulders and the neck. Breathe into that. Do things that stretch the pectoralis muscles, the muscles in your chest, all that gets super tight. Stretch your lower body. Just gently ease into it. This is not where you're doing yoga to get in super shape or burn a ton of calories. I'm talking about where you're just taking these tight muscles and you're relaxing them. You're stretching them out gently because that will cause you to feel safer and it will cause you to feel much less stressed. I mean, and just as an example, when you see, if you're a pet person, not everybody is, but I am, you see if you have a cat and they're lying in the a sunbeam. They're lying in a sunbeam by the window and they're stretched out on their backs and their bellies are exposed. They're relaxed. If you have a dog, your dog might stretch out on the rug. Think about that. Animals, again, in the wild, they're stressed, they contract, they crouch, they have to get ready to spring into action, either to fight back or to escape. So pay attention to that and do the opposite. You'll be surprised at how much better you feel just by doing that. And the other thing, just so you know, is it's going to get you out of your head as you're into your stretching and your body and your breathing. It's going to get you out of that loop of anxiety, and it's going to get you into your body, right? We want that balance between mind and body awareness. All right. So again, reverse the contraction, relax the contraction. Number two, a lot of times you hear about this and it's going to sound like, oh, blah, blah. It's not that, what is that really doing? It really does something. Again, our bodies are wired to be, to adapt, to feel better in certain circumstances and when doing certain things than others. So get outside in daylight. Now, if you live in the United States, in the Northern Hemisphere, wherever you are, unless you're in like Florida, it's kind of cold. And here it's in the teens today. It's really, it's dark earlier and it stays dark later in the morning. Like we have just a shorter window of daylight. But your brain needs daylight to have a normal sleep and wake cycle. Your brain needs daylight to produce the appropriate amount of melatonin and at the right time. Your brain needs daylight to maintain healthy mood, right? And it's why sometimes we are, you might find that you're feeling more sluggish or more depressed. If you're prone to seasonal depression, when it's dark out, you're feeling worse. So getting out, not only moving your body, great way to elevate your mood, but being in daylight, it's so simple, but there's a reason why it works. So if it's cold by you, please just bundle up, put on a hat, coat, gloves, get out for 5 minutes if that's all you can do. I have to say this because I'm a super helicopter-y pet mom, but it's true. There's been stuff in the news talking about like, do you need to put a coat on your dog when it's really cold out? 100%. If you need a coat, unless your dog is a Great Pyrenees, they probably need one too, or a husky. So especially protect their feet, put on their jackets. If it's something like it's in the teens right now, be mindful of their feet on the pavement, please. Sometimes it's better to leave them inside and just take them out for the necessities, right? But you can get out, and you should. So that's number 2. Get outside, enjoy the daylight. Now, number 3 is related to that. It's using the imagery of nature to release what you want to release and recharge your batteries. Now, if you're already getting outside, your mind is still forming imagery whenever you're doing anything, whether you're really doing it or just doing it in your mind. So you'll notice in a lot of my guided imagery and other people's too, I use imagery of nature. So sunlight, literally energizing your body, energizing every cell. You actually do need sunlight. But when you're out walking in sunlight, or whether you're doing that or just imagining it, allow yourself to feel the warmth on your skin. Allow yourself to imagine that sunlight beautifully and gently penetrating every cell of your body and restoring vitality. Allow imagery of the breeze to carry away what you don't need. Allow imagery of water, if you're a water person, to soothe your body, relax your muscles. Again, release, wash away all that stuff that's been feeling too weighty to carry around. Now, we know that whether you're doing hypnosis or whether you're deeply engrossed in imagination, which really honestly is hypnotic anyway, or whether you're listening to guided imagery, the more you do it, the more real that imagery is to you, the more your brain and your body perceive it as real and benefit as if it's real. So it's like developing a muscle. Practice makes not perfect, but better. Um, it's a tool you're born with. Use it. Mental rehearsal of healing, soothing, cleansing, clearing nature imagery. That's number three. So, number four, all these tools really can work together. Use the ones that are best for you, but bring scent into the equation if you like scents. Now, I have actually had people who've come in and said, please don't even use imagery of scents because it might trigger a headache for them or they just don't like them. So if you're watching the video, you're going to see me. I lit a candle before I got on today, but you can imagine this, right? Because we know how powerful your imagination is. So I'm showing you the candle. I'm lighting Palo Santo, which is a very fragrant wood. Now I use this both with the intention and imagination to clear my space, reset my energy, right? Let go of stuff that isn't mine, let go of stuff that is mine, but just cleanse and clear. It's a helpful tool for me. Palo Santo has a very sacred smell. It's a very resinous smelling wood. So do that. You may be somebody who'll just have a nice hand lotion that you like, and maybe it smells like rose or lavender or whatever. Use that. There's a reason for that, of course, because I wouldn't bring it up if there wasn't some sort of evidence for using something. So we know, and I'm not going to get too technical, but the area of your brain that encodes memories, right, of any kind, having holiday dinner with your family when you were a kid, whatever it is, opening presents, sitting on your grandma's lap and having her read you a story, or whatever it is. Going on your favorite vacation and smelling the suntan lotion that you used to use. Doesn't matter. But the area of your brain that encodes and processes and recognizes smells, very close to the part of your brain that does that for memories. So whether you're forming a memory or retrieving a memory, scent is a way of doing that more quickly and instinctively. There's a reason why if you're walking down the street and you pass a restaurant and the food that they're preparing is something that a beloved family member used to make when you were a kid, it brings you back and it evokes all of the emotions, right? Because we have emotional memory. It evokes the emotions, the visual imagery, just it's transportative. It transports you back in time in a good way if it's a good scent, right? So when you also choose to pair scent with your meditation, with your yoga practice, whatever, what happens is those two things, the emotion you're trying to cultivate or the pleasant memory or whatever, and the scent become linked so that even if you, again, just have the scent and not the actual other thing, you're not doing yoga right now, but you always say use lavender hand lotion before you do yoga, that lotion, that scent of lavender will evoke the feelings of relaxation and ease. And that's what we want. We want to make it easier for ourselves. So if your brain is wired to do this, may as well take advantage of it. Pair scent with relaxing activities, behaviors, meditation, whatever it is. If it's just something you liked, from way back in the day, just treat yourself to that. Enjoy that scent and sink more easily and automatically into a peaceful state. Okay, so that is number 4. Number 5, you hear people saying, a lot of wellness influencers and, therapists who are online talking about improving vagal tone. So what does that mean? So what they mean by that is that you have people talk about the vagus nerve. It's actually bilateral. So there's running on either side of your body, like most things. Your body is fairly symmetrical and balanced. But this is the longest nerve in your body. So it's also the thing that is quite easy to activate. And when you do, you increase feelings of calm and peace. So way back in the day, some of you will know who I'm talking about with these people, but like Dr. Herbert Benson, the relaxation response, and Joan Borisenko, a pioneer in mind-body medicine. Both of them are Harvard people, and they were really at the forefront of doing this kind of research on what simple things could help people to feel calmer and be mentally and emotionally and physically healthier overall as a result. Diaphragmatic breathing activates the vagus nerve. So when people talk about improving vagal tone, they're talking about doing things that condition you to more quickly get into a relaxed state. So diaphragmatic breathing, belly breathing, you've seen people do this, I've mentioned it, but you can practice by putting a hand over your heart and a hand over your diaphragm. You'll notice if you put your hand just below where your ribs meet, take a deep breath, just a natural breath, and let it go. And notice, do you tend to breathe into your top hand over your chest? Is that where your body's expanding first when you breathe in, or is it your lower hand that's by your diaphragm? The way to improve vagal tone and relax more in the moment pretty quickly is to breathe. And when you inhale into the bottom hand and let your belly expand out. That helps you get more air and more oxygen into your body. And just do it at your own natural pace. And as you exhale, again at your own pace, just notice that your lower hand, the one over your abdomen, relaxes back. The hand thing is, the hand positioning on your body is useful for two reasons, by the way. Number one is it helps you, if you're normally a chest breather, we breathe through our chest when we're anxious. And you'll notice it's more rapid and shallow. Your breath, when you're taking in more air, is slower, it's deeper. But again, doing 10 cycles of breathing that way at your own pace will very much help you relax. But having the hands there not only trains you to breathe, do belly breathing, that's the other term for diaphragmatic breathing, but it is extremely comforting, right? Just notice how you have a warm hand on your heart center. You have your other nice warm hand gently resting on your abdomen. And it is one of the most comforting feelings in the world. It helps you to feel safer. And when you are in emotional overwhelm, you don't feel your safest. So try this and tell me what you think. Leave me a comment. Follow me on social media and leave me a comment. I want to know. Because again, it's free, it's easy, it's effective, and you were born to benefit from this. So simple, right? The other reason why I say put your hands over your heart and your abdomen, your diaphragm, also known as the solar plexus, that bundle of nerves, again, right below where your ribs meet. So if you've done Reiki or you've had it done to you or you do any other kind of energy healing work, you'll know that two things are really key. Your intention, and trust that there is a universal energy that, we each have access to. When I was doing Reiki training, it was commonly said, hands on, Reiki's on, and that you could just trust that your hands were on your body, you had the intention, and the energy just flowed. It is one of the most comforting things. So see if you notice. Do you feel like you are allowing yourself to receive universal energy or divine energy, or just allowing yourself to just feel comforted by the gentle, safe touch of your own hand over your heart and your abdomen? See what you think and let me know. Okay, so that's number 5. Now, I need to take a quick break because you know that I do. But when I come back, we'll go over the rest of the 12 tips for feeling calm and fighting overwhelm, or feeling calm and decreasing overwhelm, right? And who doesn't want to do that? So I'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, welcome back. We're talking about 12 easy, free tips for coping when you're feeling overwhelmed. You're wired for this. Again, you may as well use it. And the more you practice these things, the more helpful and effective they'll be, and even more quickly. So number 6, we've been talking about all these other tips. Use the power of ritual Now, some people don't like that word because it makes them think of all kinds of scary things. I'm going to define ritual once again. Ritual literally is just a series of behaviors paired with an intention. It's typically symbolic. It's something that is, that set of behaviors, that intention, that emotion for a specific purpose. And it's the pairing of them together in a specific way or order that makes it a ritual. Now, there are everyday rituals that people do all the time. You're not thinking of them like this. I'm saying this just to demystify the word ritual a little bit. But, you know, I've said this before. My husband gets up every morning. He goes downstairs. Before anybody else is up, he is cleaning the kitchen, putting any dishes from the night before in the dishwasher, wiping the counters, and making his coffee. And then he sits and reads while listening to classical music. That is the ritual. He does it every single day. It's his time alone. It's meditative for him. Yes, I am grateful that he does that because I don't really want to get up and do that. When I get up, I want to just not be, doing dishes or cleaning anything. But he finds it very calming. It centers him and it sets his day. It's automatic. It's a series of behaviors. There's a specific intention, not only to clean up the kitchen, but to just kind of, again, start his day, clear his mind before, the phone starts ringing and all that. You get up in the morning. If the first thing you do every morning is fairly similar, same thing. You get up, you go to the bathroom, maybe you brush your teeth. Maybe that's the order for you. Or maybe you get up and you go to the bathroom and then you go and have your cup of coffee. Or maybe the first thing you do is check your email. I don't know, but it's the pattern and the intention. Now, ritual for calming is just that. It's a series of behaviors that you do with the intention of becoming calmer or setting aside things that have felt weighty or distressing or whatever. So I'm going to tell you a ritual I'm going to give you the super condensed version. I have this. It's in one of my albums. It's in the album Letting Go of Unhealthy Relationships, but I want you to interpret that broadly because it's really letting go of unhealthy patterns or emotions, whatever. It's all in that same audio program, but I put the ritual track on Insight Timer for free, and you can listen to it for free. There's no hidden catch. Lots of providers and practitioners are on there. It's an active service, helps you to get to know our work. I'm not asking for anything from you. If you listen to it and it's helpful, that's what you're doing for me. You can give me a follow or leave me a comment. That helps me too. But the ritual for letting go is about noticing what's felt too weighty. It could be stress around a relationship. It could be stress around world events. It could be a habit or a way of coping that you think is not so good for you anymore. But what you're going to do with this ritual is you're going to take things that tend to be kind of undefined, intangible, these kind of blobs in our mind of emotion and thought and whatever. We might not even be fully conscious of them when we're experiencing them, but you're going to make them concrete. And what I mean by that is you're going to take the thought or the feelings out of your mind and you're going to write them on paper. And it could be anything. It could be right now I'm feeling so stressed. I can't stand when I turn on the news. I want to be calmer, and in order to be a calmer person, I need to release, this anxiety running in the background. Or I need to, I really want to let go of this habit I have of smoking or whatever. And this doesn't get in the way of any other thing you're doing to take care of yourself and your mental health. But you're going to write it down. It could be that I had a horrible interaction with somebody in my life and they always do this and I always feel so misunderstood or whatever it is. And you're going to write down the feelings, write down the situation or pattern or loop, whatever. And you're going to do it with the intention of letting it go so that you can make way for something positive. What are the positive things you want? Maybe you want more harmony in the relationship and you need to let go of hard feelings that you've had for a long time. Even if you are well within your rights to have those feelings. If you're ready to let them go, let them go. You're symbolically taking that distress and writing it down on the paper. You could scribble, you could use crayons, do whatever you want. Draw pictures of, what represents the feelings you've been having or the pattern. And then crumple up that paper and say, you can say it out loud, I'm ready to release this and make way for, whatever you're ready to make way for. Take the piece of paper that you've just crumpled up with all the stuff you want to release, throw it away outside of your house, outside of your home. If you live in an apartment and there's a garbage chute down the hall, throw the paper out in the garbage chute or throw it in the garbage can outside, whatever it is. But let it go. Some people will burn it, some people will salt it, some people will tear the paper up before they throw it out. Doesn't matter. But your intention combined with the behaviors is helping you let that stuff go. And you might feel honestly like you've lost a few pounds because you've been carrying so much around. It's a very simple but very therapeutic kind of tool. All right, power of ritual. Number 7, if you are a spiritual person or feel that you are a religious person, you already have tools, I'm sure, to help you connect with something greater than yourself. And what I like about that is that we often feel like we need to carry everything around by ourselves. We have the weight of the world on our shoulders. It feels like too much. If you pray, dedicate some time to sit in prayer. Pray for your own best and highest good. Pray for more peace in the world. Pray for somebody you love. Pray to be able to each day become closer to that best version of yourself, whatever it is. If you are a spiritual person, but your traditions are different, do that. If that's meditation, great. If that's intention, just intending for good in the world, wonderful. Do it. I really do believe there's an energy to that. And I do also think when we send good energy out into the world, it absolutely does help us. So win-win. I'm going to say the other thing too is that related to that, number 8, so we have our healing intention, our prayerful intention, whatever it is, but perform some sort of act of service. That is taking the healing intention and the prayerful intention or whatever it is and putting it into action. We're taking this intention and doing something more concrete. And again, I've said this before, do what you can do. If right now you feel so overwhelmed, you feel like you can't do anything, then just hold that healing intention. But when you feel like you can do something, it can be small. Like I've said before, now it's snowy out where I am. If you're able-bodied and you have a neighbor who isn't, shovel their walkway maybe. If you feel like that's something you can do. Offer to pick something up for somebody at the grocery store when you go. If you're looking for a charity to donate to, there's, I'm sure, plenty in your own area. In a previous episode, and I'll put the link to that, but I said, there were a few charities that I'm donating to and I support in my area. If you're looking for a place to donate, please feel free to donate directly to them. But if you can't, just one small thing, whatever it is, and you get to decide. But you will feel better. It also helps us get out of our heads and out of our own way and stop focusing on everything that we're holding that feels like too much. We're part of a collective. I've said it before, I'm saying it again. Okay. Number 9, clear the clutter. I know I just mentioned my husband feels good when he gets up in the morning, cleans the kitchen. That is very therapeutic for him. We could split the world into 2 types of people. It would be an artificial split, but hear me out. Maybe the one type would be the people who are like, you know what? I cleaned out my closets. I don't know, I dusted my house, whatever it is. I'm more organized. I feel so much better. It's cleansing. It's internally cleansing. My friend Tony is a very successful attorney and still cleans her own house. And I remember for years saying, I don't know how you have the time to do that. I don't know why you're doing that. She could have somebody help her out with that. And she just said it's like it's meditative for her. It's internally cleansing. And I have to be honest, I get it. This weekend, that's what I did. I dusted all kinds of stuff. I cleaned glass. I got out a step stool and was wiping things down. I wiped down all the cabinets in my kitchen. And some people would say that's just weird. They might be in the other category where they're like, no, I don't find it particularly cleansing to go through and organize or clear clutter. But I have to tell you, symbolically, we're all carrying so much around. And even just going through the stuff we have that we don't use anymore, old clothes, they're out of date, or maybe they don't fit well, or maybe you're like me and you just wear the same five things again and again because it's easy. Somebody else can use that. So you are doing a good deed, but you're also, if you believe in energy, you're creating better energy or chi in your home. That's very feng shui, and it's true. But just psychologically, you're creating a space that isn't overwhelming you with stuff and distractions. It's easier to work. There actually is some data showing that you will honestly feel better if you let go of some of the stuff that you've been holding on to that a part of you knows you don't need. It is so symbolic and it is so true. If you need help with that, ask a friend or family member, or maybe you need to bring somebody in if you've got a more major clutter issue. But let go of stuff you don't need. The extra pots and pans that you don't ever use, somebody could probably use now. The extra coat or winter gloves. People are definitely in need of more these days. It's doing a good deed, but it's also just good for us. Clear the clutter. See what works for you. All right. So, number 10, this really touches on a lot of the things we've said, so I won't belabor it, but make daily tasks meditative. Again, cleaning the kitchen, whatever it is, making dinner. Even if you're going through your emails and you're like, oh, I don't want to go through my emails, and you have to do it every day, just be in the present moment, breathe, remind yourself of what's helpful about it and how good you'll feel when you've gotten through this task, but be in the moment, right? It's the only moment we have right now. Number 11, pick a comforting memory. I always say don't live in the past, and I mean that, but we're allowed to take a vacation to the past and to the things that are good, especially now when we're feeling overwhelmed. So pick a comforting memory. Allow yourself to take a little trip down memory lane. Notice what was comforting about the memory, how you feel in your body, how you feel in your mind, and allow yourself to just be experiencing those comforting feelings, those feelings of love or happiness in the now. And this is what I mean by that. This time of year, a lot of us are thinking about people in our lives who may no longer be with us. Holidays are here, and, but we can find not only the feelings of missing, but the feelings of joy. So my mother's parents were extremely important to me. I loved spending time with them. I loved going to see them. I was telling my husband about how, like, just simple little things. My grandparents did not have a lot of money, but they, I would go stay there for like 2 weeks in the summer. And my grandmother and my youngest uncle would take me roller skating, like through the neighborhoods. And what I mean by that is, I might have been like 5 and had those little, if you're of a certain age, you know what I'm talking about, the metal roller skates that you used to strap onto your sneakers. And, they were pretty loud as you, tried to slide your feet forward and skate. And they would hold me under each arm. And as we got to the curb, my uncle and my grandmother would lift me up onto the next curb. And it was the most simple but joyful thing, And I remember my grandmother would find all this kind of like, candy I probably shouldn't have been having, but really creative stuff like purple shoestring licorice that tasted like grape. I remember that a million years later. And my grandmother is now no longer in the physical world with me, but I believe she's in spirit. I feel comforted by the memory, and the memory connects me to the joy and the feeling of being loved and being well taken care of. So it's okay to go to memory lane as long as we don't live in the past. It's okay for us to visit and enjoy it and appreciate it and bring those good feelings into the now. And number 12 is gratitude. Now, I want to make sure you understand, I don't mean this in a toxic positivity way. I don't. I mean that in terms of thinking about it from this point of view. We know there's research to support feeling grateful. It's also okay when we just feel like I'm in a place where I can't access that. And it's what it is. And just honor the moment you're having and the feelings you're having. But whatever our attention stays with gets amplified. So whether that's gratitude for something simple like shoestring licorice, decades ago with my grandmother, or whether it's gratitude for the fact that I am sitting inside while it's freezing outside. And I'm so grateful to have a warm place to live and work. And I know that that is a privilege compared to what a lot of people are dealing with. I am grateful for that. I am grateful when one of my pets comes in the room and curls up on my lap while I'm working. It's just a simple, beautiful thing that brings me joy. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. But when my mind is on that experience of love and gratitude, it isn't trapped by all of the other stuff that's just a lot to sit with, right? Even if it's just for those few moments. So allow yourself space to focus on something, even if it's small, that feels good to you in the now, or that you can recall and be grateful for. So, let me know what you think. Let me know some things that I should add to this list next time. Let me know what you're grateful for. I am grateful for you. I want to let you know that, again, I'll put links to certain resources and the show notes. I've just been a little overscheduled, but I want to offer another free meditation. I might do something before this podcast episode airs in a few weeks. But in general, what I would say is I'm not great with social media, but if you follow me on Facebook, if you follow me on Instagram, when I have an event coming up, I will post about it. Even better, please consider signing up for my newsletter, my little email list. I barely email. If anything, you'll be disappointed at the fact that you're not hearing from me that much. But I will let you know there first when I'm doing another free event or have some other good news to share that I hope will help you feel good too. I will never spam you. Your information doesn't go anywhere except to me. But when there is something coming up that I think would be helpful or you might enjoy, you'll be the first to know if you sign up for the email list. So I'll put a link to that in the show notes below. If you try any of these techniques, let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. Follow me on social media and just let me know how you're doing. If you enjoy the episode, please do remember to like, share, follow, tell a friend. It really does help me to continue bringing meaningful content to you. As always, please know how much I appreciate you. And until next time, I wish you all the very best. Be well.